All right. Hey, everyone. I am Jen Gleeson Blue, and I am here with Lisa Baldwin. And is that the full name that you go by?
Yes.
Okay, because sometimes, you know, it's like I don't know all the pieces because I have myself like 12 names. So anyway, so I'm doing this Resilient Life, How They Do It series, and we're going to chat with Lisa today about the many ways that she has created resilience in her own life through movement and some lifestyle changes and all of that. She's a student from my Launch a Resilient Life course, and she's super well versed in so much of this work. So it's particularly exciting to talk with her. So Lisa, why don't you take a moment and share a little bit about yourself, your, you know, whatever resonates. Yeah.
Well, I like to, when I think of myself growing up, I was a professional sitter. I love to read. Was not really into sports, but when you're 5'10", like I was, suddenly in 6th grade, we had a girls basketball team. And guess who was chosen for the team? So I think I played basketball for about 4 or 5 years, but I kept getting hurt all the time. My knees hurt all the time. And so eventually I know my parents took me to the doctor. They're like, oh, you must have torn something. I'm like, I don't remember that happening, but my knees hurt. Okay. So I quit. And I did other things like marching band and stuff like that. So, you know, my life was much the same. You know, I kind of was a little bit more active in high school and in college. And I will say I've always been a good walker because that's how we had to get to school and things like that.
Did you go uphill, backwards, both ways too?
Yeah, through the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just confirming that, yeah.
Yes, it was brutal. But you know, that was the way we had to get around. There were 6 kids. We walked. So fast forward, so I hit my 40s, you know, and my knees started aching again. And you know, of course, by then I was into exercising. The exercise videos, going to the gym, you know, I was awesome, you know. Still looked exactly the same. Still wasn't changing anything. But then that dreadful knee thing started happening again, where my knees always hurt. So of course I went to the doctor, who sent me to the orthopedic surgeon. Oh, you need physical therapy because your kneecaps are, turned out weird, something. Went through several rounds of PT. Then went back to the doctor. Long story short, he's like, I think you need exploratory knee surgery on your left knee, which is the worst one. So he did. Which, looking back, I never should have. It's just you trust. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, I woke up from knee surgery, and he's like, "Yeah, there really wasn't anything wrong with your knee." And when I went back for the 6 weeks follow up, by then, okay, this is the cycle. My feet started to hurt under the ball of my feet, under both feet, and I said to him, "Well, you still haven't answered my knee problem, and now my feet hurt." He said, "You're too young to have these problems." And he turned around and left the room. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm done. Done. I'm going to figure this out on my own. So I just started, you know, internet, started searching. And I found all different kinds of things, how to heal your knees, how to do this, how to that. And nothing really worked. You know, but I kept going to the gym, kept doing all that stuff. And one day I found Katie Bowman's site, Save Your Knees, Build a Butt. And that started that journey with, just reading the blog. And I sat down, I read the blog over and over and over again because I was trying to understand. And I was like, wait, how can this really work? But that kind of began this little journey, as in one day I was like, I sit all day at my job. I'm a graphic designer. I have sat at all my jobs in all places I've lived. So I've continued my lifetime of sitting. And I think it was right after she had that blog post that sitting is killing you. And a coworker of mine who also was sitting, the webmaster, she's like, we got to change this. So we got paper boxes and we stood them up and we started standing. And actually, this is my only self-claim to fame. Our HR department came by, because by then like 4 people were standing. And she made a comment to me that my other coworker was standing incorrectly and that he was going to get hurt because she saw him bend incorrectly. And I was so annoyed that I remember making a comment to the Aligned Well website. Well, then Katie wrote a post about what we could say to our HR department.
I love it. I love it.
So I was like, oh my God, that was me. But I'm happy to tell you that we started a trend in our entire office. Last week, the email went out. Anyone who wants a standing desk, let us know.
You're kidding. That is so cool.
My coworker and I started has changed the entire company of like 70 people.
I just got chills.
Yeah, we probably have over half the staff having standing workstations now.
The chills keep coming. That's amazing.
And I have people, and now granted, they come to look at my desk to see what I have done. I have my rock tray and my half dome and a balance disc, and they all look at me like I'm crazy and walk away. But it's really nice because it's enabled me to do some things differently and stand differently and sit down up. And I can tell you that these small changes have made a vast difference. I'm not going to tell you everything has got, like, I still have days that my knees hurt or my feet hurt or my hip hurts or, I'm still dealing with issues.
Sure.
But it's, yeah, everybody is. And I know when I've seen some of your podcasts or some of the things you do, you talk about, here's me standing, here's my hunchback,
Yeah.
I know we're all at different points, and we've all come to this work because of something that hurt. And I know I've helped myself, and but I still get frustrated because I think I haven't done anything. It doesn't show. But I can tell you these are my minor little tiny victories I've had. And I started hanging 2 years ago, and it because I was like, I'm going to do a pull up. Yeah, not so much. I'm still at the hanging part. But this is odd. My shirts are getting too small across the shoulders.
Because you're widening. Yeah.
And like, I just noticed that this summer when I pulled out my summer clothing, and I'm like, they don't fit across my shoulders.
Wow.
Like, how weird is that? And it was like, who can I tell that's going to get no one.
Right.
Cool. No one. So I can tell you. It's so incremental.
Yeah.
But and I will tell you, my wonderful father passed away a year and a half ago, and he had a severe kyphosis. He was 94 and he lived a good, long, strong life. But I watched him over the years, get more rounded and rounded, and I thought, that's my future right there. And it already had started, which of course I hit it so extremely well. That we all do. But it's those things that I see around me, that how my parents were, that are my inspiration. Like, okay, yeah, I'm in my 50s. Had I started all this stuff when I was in my 20s or 30s, I'd be further along. But you know what? I'm still making changes, and it's still helping. And I'm better off than what I was 5 years ago.
And that's amazing. Like that, it's sort of like you're saying, like there's this part of you that's like, it doesn't show. And then what I love too is that you follow that up by how it actually literally shows, which is like, so fantastic because it is like so much of it is, it can be incremental to the point where you don't notice the before and after, or a lot of it, I think, kind of keeps us from getting worse. And so that doesn't always feel like a win, because we're balancing it with the same habits that we've always had. So the change is a little bit slower.
And it is very hard, I think, to, I don't know, sometimes see those concrete things.
Yeah.
I kind of just try and go with, well, I'm able to do a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things by bringing up your dad sort of brings to mind is that sense of like, where are we going to go if we don't start tending to these things? And that seems to remain a guiding force for you. Is like, you've seen the picture, you've seen what this can end up as, and you don't want that. And so you're making different choices. And
I don't know, there's so much I question now when I read something that, because I know he had abdominal aneurysm that he had surgery on like several months before he died, because the doctor's like, you're in great shape. And they're like, the doctor turned to us and said, you know, you should all be checked because they're hereditary. And I thought, is it really hereditary, or is it the way that you stand that causes the pressure? I mean, is that really what's hereditary? Kind of like how bunions are hereditary. Sure, your body has some of those same tendencies because you do have genetics, but we're not our genetics.
Right.
So I guess I'm just not saying something I'm aware of, like, yeah, that could be I could have an abdominal aneurysm growing. I need to pay attention to that. I understand that because I have 50 years of not doing these things. But I'm also aware of some of these things that I'm doing might change the shape that would stop that too.
Right.
Which I think it's important. Like, yeah, I don't have to accept that this is what's going to happen. So why not try?
Yeah. That's such a huge thing. Like, because I think you're right. Like we're giving so many messages about prescriptive messages about how life's going to be, how our bodies are going to be, what aging is going to look like. And we are going to age and our bodies are eventually going to stop working. And it does seem that maybe we accept too much of that. Like we just, like, this is just how it's going to be, when in fact, like if you had some trunk mobility, you know, and like all those vessels in the middle, like then the aneurysm doesn't need to show up.
Right. Well, and people discount how important walking is. Again, I keep mentioning my dad, 94, but up until his final year, he was out walking every day. And when it was cold, you know, we live in central Pennsylvania, we have winter. He'd still walk at the mall every day. You know, he had to get out and move around. And granted, he did do a lot of driving. He was a bus driver. He loved to drive. So I think that had a lot to do with how his body was shaped. Yeah. But, you know, you can make changes. You can, you know, I sit in the car weird now. I don't slump back in my seat. You know, I'm trying, you know, I'm looking at how things are designed and saying, well, how can I make that not be so comfy? Yeah. Either sit on the floor, sit on the edge. And, yeah, they're tiny changes, but it keeps me moving.
So I want to hear a little bit more about this weirdness, because this has come up a couple of times in our conversations. So how do you deal with that, right? Like you're talking about these weird things you're doing, and I know that you are even weirder in more public environments. So maybe just share a little bit about that first, and then tell us what you do with the inner chatter when you're being weird.
Okay, well, I take a walk at work every day. And quite honestly, it's one way down, one way back. There is not like a neighborhood to walk around. It's pretty much a business environment, which I'm very lucky because we're on the side of a creek. So at least I have something to look at on the one side. But basically it's office buildings until we get to a retirement community at the very bottom, and an apartment community where I can go around, play on the playground. But because I figure I don't know anyone here other than in my office, I don't really care what all these people think of me.
Well, and everybody in your office is standing up anyway.
Well, some of them, yes. Not all. There's the other ones that go, are you going out again? It's really cold. But there's a whole series of trees I found are perfect for hanging. So I go down the whole way and I hang on all the trees. And also there's parts of the sidewalk, like their parking lots, where I can crawl on the curbing and pretty much some of the trees hide me. So I crawl on the curbing way out in the parking lot. And I've often, I try and duck behind the cars so people, but then I've had occasional people come out and say, what are you doing? And actually I just stand up and say, well, I don't have a lot of upper body strength and I'm working on it. And I go, oh, okay. And pretty much they just walk away and get in their car. And I thought, okay, I'll never see you again anyway.
Yeah.
At the very bottom of the hill, it's a big hill that they put big rocks up, landscaping rocks. So one day I was walking by, I thought, I bet I could climb those. So Now I climb the rocks in all kinds of different ways. So I'm sure, yet again, I am quite the amusement to the entire apartment complex that's right across the street. So I just figure, people probably just eventually go, there's that weird lady again.
Yeah, I love it. It's like taking care of yourself and providing some entertainment for people.
Yeah. And actually one day at the very bottom of the hill, some man who was driving by in a car stopped me and he said, "You're doing great." And I'm like, "Why do you say that?" And he goes, "I watch you every day and you're amazing." I'm just like, okay. All right.
Don't tell me that.
I'm a little weirded out, but okay.
Oh.
What are you gonna do? So, and actually, Jen, you're my inspiration for that, because it was one of your blog posts that you said, you gotta be willing to be a little weird. And I think you were like hanging from in the subway or something, like doing a squat. I do squats in the stairwell. God, I hope no one at work hears this, because I'll get that. That's like my little hidden place. I can come down, like I always take the steps and it's 2 stories. So in the, the flat part of it, I can do a squat, hang on to the railing.
Nice.
So it says, little weirdness things that I kind of sneak in.
Well, and that's like, you have a full-time job and you have a lot of domestic responsibilities, as most people do. And like, I think there is that question of like, how, like, and I hear this all the time, like, how do I fit it in? I can't do it. And you've already just painted this amazing picture of how you can change your environment, how you can change your habits, how you can find ways to increase the quantity and quality of your movement, to balance out the 9 to 5. And
it's not always easy. I will tell you that. I noticed today I was very busy, and sometimes I'll catch like, oh my gosh, it's been like an hour. I haven't like budged from this. Yeah. And that is why having that standing desk really does help, because I find that I really can't, even though I am standing still, I'm constantly like using the half dome or my rocks, because I do change that position. And also I found that since I've shoved out all the chairs, if I take my shoes off to stand in my rock bed, I get down on the floor to do that.
Nice.
So then I put my shoes back on and then I stand up. So I'm getting up and down from the floor. So it's a small thing, but if I was just sitting in the chair all day, I would just kick my shoes off.
Right.
I wouldn't do that. So how many times have I gotten up and down from the floor? Maybe 10, 20 because of doing that.
I'm right. And that's like a huge amount of movement comparatively to
do nothing, which is and I also find that at work, if I do sit down, I usually come back and eat my lunch and then I sit down at my desk because I do want to sit too. And I've actually, I'm lucky enough that we have it's like a rolling cabinet with a cushion on top. Like I guess if you wanted to sit on it, like in this cubicle. Mm-hmm. So I take my half dome or whatever and I plop that on top and I sit in a cross-legged position or I sit on a block. So I'm kind of like sitting in all different ways, even while I'm sitting.
Yeah.
Not the most comfortable. One day I'm going to fall off. Just a little worried about that. But
you'll be strong enough to recover well.
Depending on what I hit in the cubicle. But I really wish I had this lovely area to go hiking, and I don't have that around here without hopping in the car and driving, and I work Monday through Friday, so weekends are spent getting groceries and doing all those other things and cleaning my house. And if I have a little bit of time, I try and find a nicer place to walk, but sometimes I don't have it. So I just try and find things in my neighborhood where I can balance on some landscape rocks, or some landscape timbers make good balancing areas to walk, like timbers. And I walk in the grass a lot.
Yeah.
Just to get that different, so I'm not on the sidewalk as much.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would love to live where I had, mountain trails to go out and do every day, but I don't. And when I get out there, it is wonderful, but reality is I don't very often.
Yeah.
So I enjoy what I do have, at least.
That's so inspiring. I mean, and I've been, even just talking to you, I can feel how I'm so over living where I live. I'm so tired of concrete. I'm so tired of the city. Like, I feel like I can't, and it's like, there's this way where I just want to like, just forget it. You know what I mean? Like it's like so much to overcome. And it's the same thing. Like, I got to get into a car and go somewhere. So I mean, truthfully, like, it's very inspiring to talk to you and to kind of remember to, that whatever the situation, there's a lot that's available to us. And I think you embody that so perfectly. And I know that you also have, you have a morning movement practice too, right? Like an exercise period of time.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do all kinds of, I have been, since my children were really small, I found that was my only time of the day. And I like getting up early in the morning. So I still get up, about an hour and a half earlier than I need to be for work. Mm-hmm. And I do something for a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. Sometimes I just get on the floor and just roll around or crawl for like 10 minutes. And then I'll do, whether it's one of the aligned, the snacks, mm-hmm. or something that you've done, or I have some other programs I do, but nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I don't do that 7 days a week. I do that Monday through Friday because it's like my morning routine for work. Take my dog out for a short walk when I can. And then sometimes I do come home from work. If I have time and I have 10 minutes, I might do something, 10 minutes of this, where I just try and do, some of the things that are hard for me to do at work, that, those wall angels, which I do anyway at work, who cares? But, I don't lay down on the floor at work. But then at night, watching TV, that's what I do. I lay it on the floor and do all that stuff. And my husband thinks I'm nuts again, but
but who cares?
Who cares? The dog steps on me, and I have a parrot that jumps on me occasionally. I'm like fair game, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure if my children were little, they'd be stepping on me too.
Right.
But now they don't care. They just step over me. My mom.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So there's.
Do you have a favorite exercise?
I don't think so. Some of the things are still so hard for me.
Yeah.
I think I have the world's tightest hamstrings. I think I remember you saying on one of your Launch a Resilient Life how tight your calves were. And I think my hamstrings rival that because, when I first started doing that double, mm-hmm. I couldn't even put my feet up on anything. It was like, it took me a year to be able to nudge them up.
Wow.
That's how tight they were. So now I can do it, but it's still tight.
Yeah. So maybe not your favorite, but your most needed.
And that's probably why I typically avoid it the most.
Right.
But I'm trying, and it's those ones that are tough. In fact, I started working on one, and I know I've avoided this one. It's the butt one, to try and build the butt, and it's standing on one leg. And I swear, and like I don't have a muscle back there on one side. I'm like, there's nothing there. So that's my challenge. Yeah. And I do think I never quite know, like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? But the more I read and the more I watch what you're doing and just reading, I'm learning more mm-hmm. by everyone that's part of Nutritious Movement. It's amazing how much information you all put out that's just little nuggets that helps.
Yeah. Right. And it is so much like there's like one little piece that you need. Yeah. And when you find it, it's like, oh God, all right.
Yeah. I think this is right. Yeah, I get this now. Or I feel it in my body. I understand what you're talking about, but it can take a while.
Yeah.
And just say, okay, it's a journey. There's no big reward. Like, I can do 400 pull-ups now. No, really? Does anyone care? No. My goal is to get up and down off the floor.
Right.
When I'm 94. God willing, I make it there.
Yeah.
So many people that I know can't get up and down off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So,
whether they're 40 or 50 or 60 or 70. Or
guys at work who have a heart struggle and they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, you got to do this. I'm 30 years older than you. Get up.
Right. Oh, wow. This is so great. I just so appreciate you sharing all of your story and, yeah, and your perspective on this. Like, there's a real balance. And like I said, like, I personally find it inspiring. I know that others will too, because there is this just amazing embodiment of the doing of the work with the bigger picture understanding. Yeah, and the kind of holding the hard parts with the rewarding parts, and I just love seeing that in you and in your life. It's very cool.
That's a journey.
Yeah.
Why not try?
Yeah. So do you have any advice for people who are sort of looking at all of this work, looking at how they can make changes in their lives and are feeling resistant to it? Like, because, I think it can feel like a really big shift to some people. So do you have any advice for somebody who's thinking about jumping into this kind of journey?
I would say, first of all, you don't have to be good at it. Mm. There's no one judging you to see that you're doing this perfect or anything like that. Like, everybody, like, if you were in a room with 10 people, absolutely everyone would be at a different place. Some people might be able to do this calf stretch where their calf is normal. Some people can't, but it doesn't really matter. It's you're in the space that you're there because you're an unique individual, and you just have to be gentle and give yourself time and not look at it as you're bad or you're good at something. You just are in that place right this minute, and you're just going to make small changes and just don't push it. Just listen to your body. I think that's the hardest part, is listen to your body, because our society is push it, sweat, do more. It's like, no, just back off and listen. You'll get there. Just don't be discouraged when you fall over. Because really, ultimately, who cares? It's not a competition. That's the thing you have to remember. It's not a competition. This is a way to not only heal your body, but just to feel good in your body.
Beautiful words. Are you listening, whoever you are watching? Lisa has wise words for us all. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's been wonderful to connect.
I'm happy, and I enjoy your programs. I think you do an awesome job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy to spread the word.
Well, if those of you who are watching, if you want more, you can head to launchyourresilientlife.com, and you should be able to find what you want there. The full course information is at launchyourresilientlife.com/join. Yeah, so here you have a whole new picture of how this can be done, what this looks like, what it means to become more resilient in your body and in your life. And I hope that you've taken a lot away from it. So thank you, Lisa. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.